Hi, this video covers section 10.2 in which we talk about yet another way of solving quadratic equations. And this is something you should have seen before. It's the quadratic formula, which should be familiar. Again, it's good for when we have quadratic equations in this form where everything's set equal to 0. To use a quadratic formula, you have to have everything equal to 0. And it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And so, again, this should be something you've seen before, but let's go ahead and take a look at how we'd use that for a couple of examples. What do we have to do first in this example A? Well, it's not set equal to 0, so the very first thing is we should probably make it look like x squared minus 6x plus 7 equals 0, and then we can tell what a, b, and c are. A is the number or coefficient in front of the x squared, and it's not written there, but we know there is an invisible 1 there. And then b is the number in front of x, which is negative 6. And of course c is the number that's by itself, that's the positive 7. And so what we do is we just go and take these three numbers and we plug them into our formula. X equals negative b. X equals negative b, or the opposite of b, and if b is a negative 6, that means that we're going to write the opposite of that, a positive 6. Plus or minus the square root of b, which is negative 6 squared, minus 4 times a. A is 1 times c. C is 7. And this whole thing is divided by 2 times a, and a is 1. And so then we go about simplifying. You can see why we talked about in chapter 9 about simplifying square roots, because here we have the square root as part of this formula. So we have 6 plus or minus square root of 36 minus 28. 4 times 7 is 28 over 2. Now we can keep going here. This is equal to 6 plus or minus the square root of 8 over 2, which is equal to 6 plus or minus 2 square root 2 over 2, because 8 is 4 times 2. And then when we go to simplify, sometimes this is where students get mixed up. And so probably the easiest way to think about this, though, is to split this apart into two parts, to rewrite it as 6 over 2 plus or minus 2 root 2 over 2. This is the way you're going to see me simplify it. And then this simplifies because 6 goes into, or 2 goes into 6 3 times. And then here 2 goes into 2 once. And so this simplifies down into 3 plus or minus just the square root of 2, which again is two answers. And sometimes it might be worthwhile to leave it like this. A lot of times my math lab is going to want you to leave it in exact form. This is exact answer. You should be familiar with leaving as the exact answer, but we can also find an approximate answer. And so that would be what happens when we get 3 plus the square root of 2 and 3 minus the square root of 2. You're going to want to pull out your calculator again. Calculate 3 plus square root of 2 and 3 minus square root of 2, which approximates to about 4.4 and 1.6. About 4.4 and 1.6.